Okay, well, welcome to another episode of the Poppycock podcast. I'm your host, as always, Frames Janko, joined by Gopher Trace and Woos Brillis.
I don't even want to know which one of those I am.
So it's
I'm Gopher.
Yeah, it's Gopher Trace, and you're Woos Brillis.
Okay.
Wait, I'm Topher Grace?
Yeah, you just figured that.
I just like Gopher.
Anyway, so I
thought it was like that's weird. Mine's kind of random and out of place.
Yeah, no, it is. It's Gopher Trace. Anyway, also that could be
A
like
guy named Trace.
if you were a guy who ran like traces and background tracks,
Trace
they could
is
be
a
like
name.
call it doop doop doop, like hello, Gopher Trace.
Anywho,
So we're gonna, obviously DC Fandome happened yesterday, and a lot of stuff happened. The main things to talk about, I think, in my opinion, are the new Batman trailer that everyone has seen at this point, and it's the first time in my life I've ever been happy to see the same thing plastered all over the place over and over again. You can't escape it because it's just so cool. And the two new video games that were announced, both made by people who previously were making the Arkham franchise. So, which do you guys want to hop into, the games or the? Well, let's do the movie trailer first because that's less to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So Battinson, right off the bat, Bat. What did you guys think of the bat suit, like his bat suit versus like the Affleck suit? Because those are the two current Batman.
I feel like it's much closer to what we see in the comics. I like it a lot more.
How do you mean? Because I mean, Ben Affleck's literally looks like it walked out of a comic book. So how is your mind? I'm not critiquing. I'm just curious.
In terms of like when I look at
Can you speak up, Woos? No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to say your name again.
When I look at Batfleck's, one, the sign, and I get that, different interpretations.
Yes, Frank Miller bat symbol, you mean?
Yeah,
like the
and
fat
I
bat.
understand with different interpretations you have to make certain changes, but at the
Yeah.
same time, some of the aspects of it, like...
Well, it's very
like
much
that-
based on Frank Miller, which is,
Yeah.
I think, between all three of us, our least favorite, like, design for anything ever. Because everyone looks like the Crimson Chin.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Aside from that,
what do you think of the eyes? There's something about his cowl and his eyes that kind of freaked me out. Like, I think it works because he's supposed to be scary, but maybe it's just because he has, like, really piercing
I
bluish
have to look
eyes.
at another picture because nothing stood out about the eyes and the cowl that was like, hey, whoa, something's
Here, I will
wrong.
look it up right now.
One thing that I'm not super keen
But when I
on-
saw it, my brain was just like, hey, that's Batman.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Well, I don't think anyone saw...
no one cares what the Gopher thinks.
What do you think, Gopher?
Like, I wasn't super keen on. Like, there are two things give me pause. One, I know it was a thing
that's
in like
fine.
one comic where the bat sign was made from the gun that killed his parents or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be. One, that just you have to take that out and put it into every Batsuit iteration.
Well, I
But
think the idea is that since he's so early on, he only
Yeah.
has the one. But
Yeah.
rumors say that at one point that suit gets damaged and he gets an even like a Mark II suit, which is
They-
believable because they've only filmed a third of the movie, and that trailer was cut from just the first third they'd filmed.
my primary concern with that is just like one, it seems like every superhero movie when they're in the early teaser stage, they're always like, rumor has it that what you're seeing is just like the first 10 seconds of the movie.
No, like I think it would be this is a bad comparison, but it's gonna work. Batman and Robin, how they wear their normal suits for 95% of it, and then the final act they don the freeze suits.
Define normal suits.
Okay, the suits that are the main suits that they're
The
wearing.
one that had ice skates in them that they could just...
That were the one where Robin had like a red Nightwing look, which aside from the nipples, that's actually a pretty good costume.
And the actor got to keep the suit.
I'm sure his wife loves that.
Yeah.
And all that. And then in the final act, they all have like elements of like icy looking stuff on it. And Batgirl temporarily has like a full cowl, I think, and then she takes that off and she's just got the domino mask again. Anyway, I think it's from the rumors, which could totally be wrong. He gets like a sort of like a half step upgrade in his suit, and like only parts of it are integrated into the next like Mark II. And there is a shot with him being blown back with a huge explosion, so that could add some credence to that rumor. I don't know. I like, even if this is the suit we have for like, if they only make one movie, if they make 5 movies or 20, I think if they kept this suit the whole time, the only thing I would change is a more Daredevil style, like harder looking cowl, because it looks like it's leather. But at the same time, I love the way it looks.
My only other concern is Pattinson's personality.
Well, I think he's an actor, so he doesn't have to be
I'm
himself.
just
in the
worried
movie.
that might... hurt development.
That's true. Well, I
Yeah.
think he's just a douche on his own time. I think he's professional when he's on the clock.
I hope so.
I mean, I almost feel like we should do a rewatch of the Twilight movies with his
No.
commentary where he's ripping on the
Also,
movies.
it wouldn't be a rewatch for me.
I was forced to see, I don't remember how many of them. They blur together. I heard that. That's my wife, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, I know. Why am I Anne Hathaway?
What?
Why am I Anne Hathaway?
Because everyone. Who do you think you look like?
Would you rather
Most
be
people
Tina
think I look like
Joras?
Lily Collins.
It's Killy Lawlins, everyone. Killy Lawlins. That sounds like a.
I stand by Tina Joras.
I guess it can be one of my many personalities.
Oh no, she's going into dark Killy.
If one of her personalities was just Gina Torres, I'd hang out with her way more.
Oh, I was thinking Gina Carano when you said Gina Torres.
Is it sad I don't know who any of these
The
people
Mandalorian.
Gina Torres,
former UFC champion.
She's a girl in Firefly, but she's also in Suits, and she's just a powerful, intimidating actress.
She's rad.
Yeah.
are.
She's attractive, but not in a way where that like lowers her. But instead, she uses it as a tool to get what she wants because she has a mind that you should work.
Anyway, Batman.
But yeah, I think Pattinson is capable because like in Tenet, he looks like he isn't acting like him. I think it's proof that he's a really good actor because in real life he seems like kind of a weird stoner, even though I don't think he's really stoned. He just constantly looks kind of out of it. But whenever he's in Tenet, like in the trailer or what we've seen in the Batman movie, he looks laser focused. And I know that people were commenting he didn't look buff enough, and it didn't sound like he was maintaining his fitness. Killy Lawlins, why are you throwing nails? And but I think we saw that in that scene where the guy's like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And then he gets his face squished in through the back of his skull. And
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
"I'm vengeance."
I don't know. That's entirely acting. That's 2 words and a
Well,
punching.
no, I'm saying here's the thing. Well, his acting looked good in the scenes prior to that, and then in that scene he looked genuinely lethal.
I'll say a scene where he has like the mask taken off and you see like the black under the eye.
First
the
time we've
mask.
ever seen Batman take his mask off and still have eyeshadow. Or yeah, is that the correct term? Killy Lawlins? Is it eyeshadow?
It's eyeliner.
Guy liner.
Guy
There
liner.
you go.
The smoky eye look.
Oh
It's-
my god, you're using professional terms.
Oh, I was joking. I didn't know that was the real
You didn't
term
know
for him.
smoky eye was a real term?
Yeah.
It sounds like an infection.
It's-
Hey, I got the
This is
smoky
the
eye.
least Batman-oriented
Daniel is
Batman conversation I
Well,
think
so
I've ever
the-
had.
Well, Woos, why don't you bring us back on topic?
What are your thoughts on the Batmobile?
I bet.
The muscle car look.
Yeah, it looks. Oh no, it's. I don't know if it's a good
Again,
dog.
I've-
things.
It's Bear Ud. Air Bud.
Oh,
Huh? Oh.
what did you think? You like the muscle car sort of prototype?
Again,
hey,
I feel like I don't quite remember. It didn't appear in a lot of scenes that I saw.
hey, tiny aggressive wiener dog.
Yes?
No, the one you're holding.
Oh.
I'll look it up.
Here, no, I have it on. I have it right here. I'll show you. Because I genuinely love it. I think
Bear
it looks like a
Ud,
mixture
anything
of.
you'd like to
I
add?
think it looks like a mixture of the Challenger and the '67 Camaro. Thank you. Can have some ASMR now with the dog sniffing. Normally, Roxy's the one providing that. So,
It's like a signature thing.
so that's
Oh, yeah, that's great. It looks a lot like the animated series one.
yeah. And see, that's another render of his suit.
Yeah, again, it looks like a really nice sort of Arkham classic style.
Yeah,
that I
and
really
for someone who's
enjoy.
only been Batman for years, it looks like a rich guy got the nicest muscle car he could, and then just turned it into
And
like a supercar.
Yeah, and that's really kind of what some
I've
of
never-
the versions of the Batmobile kind of look like. You just replace the engine and give it a weird jet thing.
Batman Noel and Batman Damned, which is sort of the same thing, continuity-wise, I think. They have a Batmobile that looks much more like a muscle car with added layers to it. So I think I love it, and it's
I
made
like
me
it.
want a Challenger or a like a '67 Camaro way more, just so I can make my own Batmobile. But I need it to be all-wheel drive, and I don't think either of those models naturally are. But yeah, so I think from the music, the full cast, everything, it's just that movie is awesome. I think they took everything great about Netflix's Daredevil series and then applied it to Batman and made it a little bit cooler because they have a bigger budget.
And saying this officially on the recording, I will say, again, my only concern is with Batfleck being sort of murdery, is he going to be murdery in this one? Because that's
Well,
what
they're
I-
not the same continuity, so he's
Yeah.
at no point does he have to become that, and I think they're doing opposite things. Okay, I think they're doing similar things because in the Snyder versions, Batman was supposed to screw up, become a monster, and then realize he went too far and redeem himself. And in this version, Batman is kind of unhinged a little bit initially, and then has to become a detective because that's just what it takes to get the job done, and it causes him to level out and become the character we know. Because he doesn't have a Batman to aspire to become; he's just trying to be whatever is most effective, and that becomes the Batman that us as the viewer enjoy.
Who's the actor who's playing Gordon? I don't know his name.
I just like Jeffrey Wright. I almost
Yeah.
said Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Here's
That's
the thing.
not right. I love him in Westworld. I love him in James Bond. I love him in everything. I just love him.
And Game Night.
Game Night as well, also good.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I actually feel like, as much as I think taking characters and making them different, like they did with Peter Dinklage's character in the X-Men franchise,
Yeah.
I think that he's wasted on Gordon because Gordon really isn't known for his amazing acting
Well,
roles.
I think that since this doesn't have the full Bat family, it's just going to be like those two forming their initial allegiance together as they're trying to test to see how far is Gordon corrupt, is Batman too lethal, can they agree together? And there's a scene in it where like Batman is in the middle of the precinct and they're all going over stuff, and then like he's like up trying to fight police officers, and then Gordon is separating them like, hey, calm down. Because he's having to work with a corrupt police force and a guy who dresses up like the most violent furry in Gotham until Man-Bat shows up.
I'm gonna ignore the furry.
But yeah, so I'm super stoked.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm optimistically cautious.
I'm Gopher.
Now, the two games that were announced, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and Gotham Knights, which I know at some point I'm going to accidentally say Arkham Knights. It's just going to happen. Which do you want to talk about first? Between the two.
I can just start off.
Well, let's go Suicide Squad. That way we can dovetail off of Gotham Knights to what you want to talk about.
Alright.
Because I think that'll fit. So, I think it's probably a little bit confusing because neither Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, nor Gotham Knights says Arkham in it, but both are being made by people who made Arkham games prior. But only one of them exists in the Arkham universe, and while it is kind of easy to tell if you were just going by, this doesn't look right, because Jason Todd doesn't have the J brand on his cheek anymore.
Yeah.
It's a big Joker scar, which I think is actually a huge improvement.
He's not the Arkham Knight.
He is not the Arkham Knight. And he has the tuft of white hair, which is more comic accurate from like the Hush comics and stuff. And his suit is ripped pretty much from, I can't remember if it's New 52 or Rebirth, but for a while he had it looked really ugly when it was drawn at first. He's never looked better, I think, in any medium than he does. Oh, excuse me. A little hiccup there. I think Red Hood looks great. But like obviously Tim Drake's Robin is younger than he was in the Arkham universe. Jim Gordon is dead in that one. I do believe it was initially going to be an Arkham game, but both publishers, WB Games and Rocksteady, wanted to make games that followed the Arkham Knight, and their stories can't coexist. So, of course, Rocksteady, who did most of the work with the Arkham franchise, the Asylum City and Knight, they get to tell their story there, which is how we get to Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League being in that continuity.
Also, if I may, one of my big things is I feel like they don't really need to exist in separate universes. I feel like Gotham has had enough problems in its history that you could make.
That's the thing. Well, Brainiac is taking. So the premise of it appears from the thing is that Brainiac landed and he's infecting people. So now we have sort of infected Justice League members, and now you're killing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you set them in the same universe, you would ask yourself why you're not seeing those characters show up, or it would be sort of like what Square Enix is doing with the Avengers game and the Sony Spider-Man. They aren't the same Spider-Man that's going to be in both versions. They're sort of similar, but they aren't the same thing. It's because they want full access to all of the villains and heroes, and they don't want to worry about who's doing what in the next game and dancing around one another.
That's fair.
So that's the feeling I get. And again, I do think that originally Gotham Knights was going to be called Arkham Knights, and I think it was going to be the next thing, because it is set after the death of Bruce Wayne in an explosion, from what we can tell. But because it's no longer tied to the Arkham universe, that could have been anything. But we're getting into the wrong game. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
I'm excited about that, honestly.
It looks amazing. I know people keep saying it looks a little bit like Sunset Overdrive. I said it myself
You
in
say
the
that like
review
it's
of
a
it.
bad thing.
No, that is not a bad thing. That's what I was going to say. That's a good thing to hear. And the people have said that are behind it at Rocksteady say that it's the Arkham combat with new things turned on to it.
Which is
So
amazing.
they're not getting rid of the Arkham combat. They're just adding gunplay and stuff, which they sort of
And
did
the
with...
auto hit system for like punching the bat. Often people would mock Batman for like being able to fly across the room just to punch someone. That will fit for Deadshot because he never misses.
Well, also for people who are like... I think because you have a lot of people who now like... Because Red Hood, the way he played, you can see that transferring to Deadshot probably pretty easily and being expanded on.
Yeah, I feel like the shooting mechanics are all they really need to flesh
And the
out
Batarangs are probably going to be what the Boomerangs are very similar to.
Yeah, yeah.
And Captain Boomerang is absolutely the one I'm going to want to play as.
And Harley
That's a Frames Jenko guarantee.
I don't know how they're gonna put Harley Quinn as a playable
I don't
character.
know who the person who plays 11 is, but I was going to jokingly say that that's who is about to be on.
Bobby What's Her Nuts.
Yeah, Bobby What's Her Nuts is here. Say hi, Bobby. All right, good talk. But yeah, so I think it's going to be proof. I think King Shark should be hilarious to see.
Honestly,
I wish Bane was around in this.
Honestly, the banter looks like it's going to be
I wish
surprisingly
we had
good,
Bane, Azrael, and Deathstroke. Deathstroke has been shafted in every WB-based game, even in Arkham Origins, where he was his coolest. He still was only in that initial fight, which is still the coolest fight
Oh yeah.
in like the entire Arkham franchise.
Oh yeah.
That game wasn't perfect, but it got a lot of stuff really right. What was like the reconstructing crime scenes and
Yeah,
stuff?
that they put into Arkham Knight.
I get the
afterwards.
feeling that's going to be in the other game, the Gotham Knights. I have to really think about it, and not call it Arkham Knights. But yeah, no, I know that I'm excited to play as Captain Boomerang because he's the dumbest person, and I love him in the comics. He's also really funny in the current run of Suicide Squad, him and Floyd Lawton. Although I have seen people complaining that Floyd Lawton is now black, like he was in the Suicide Squad movie, and like the DC movie universe now, whereas he was white in the previous Arkham games. But I also think that you're talking about aliens, and like you have a man shark next to you, and Barry Allen could have screwed up the timeline.
There's complaining Deadshot's black now?
Yeah.
But we never saw his face in the previous
No,
game.
we did.
No, you do.
Oh, that's right. He's like in the thing. He's like,
Yeah.
"Get out
Yeah,
of my
also
sight."
he has ridiculously large hands in that game. I don't know if you ever noticed, but in like Arkham City, his hands are obscenely large. Like
Especially
bigger
if you
than his
turn on
head.
bobblehead mode.
Bobblehead mode better be in both of these games.
Ugh, Harley
But yeah,
Quinn.
I'm excited to play as
King Shark, yeah.
Yeah, King Shark, and
Literally none of them look like bad characters. They all look very fun.
I would not be upset about playing
Here's the
with
thing.
them.
So after they announced that Will Arnett was there, he was the one who was announcing. He was like, "Hey, I'm Will Arnett," and apparently he's going to be in the game now as like a random NPC you can encounter.
He better be Batman.
That's what I said. They're like, we couldn't get Kevin Conroy, so we got Lego Batman. He's like one of the top 3 Batman
We
voice
got
actors.
Banks from 30 Rock.
You are licking my everything. For the record, I'm talking about a dog, not Woos Brillis or Gopher Trace.
Yeah, that's Bear Udd.
Or Killy Lawlins.
That's
Oh,
Bear,
he's going in my pants.
Bear Udd is the one.
Oh my
looking.
god. Buy me a drink for a sailor boy.
I told you I would have brought something.
I did bring something. My butt.
Anyway,
But yeah, no, they all look very fun. Because apparently, I don't know how it's going to work. We haven't seen gameplay. We only got the pre-rendered cinematic, so we haven't even really seen the game engine.
And
But
It looks like the most ambitious mobile experience.
it's not. It's on console. It's not a mobile game experience.
also,
I can't wait to
Just-
buy the extra skins and loot boxes.
at first I thought it was just going to be like the Suicide Squad. Like, well, we dealt with Batman. Now we're going to have them kill off the rest of Justice League. And I was like, well, it's interesting to tackle. But also, I like the twist that it's like it looks like they're going to be being controlled by Brainiac.
Yeah, I was talking with longtime fan of the show, Adam, my Shanghai brother, and how I felt bad about the idea of hunting down like the Flash and Superman characters I love.
He knocked over your glasses.
Of course he did. Thank you,
He's a cat. Wait, he's going.
wiener dog.
He's going to play with them.
But knowing that they're brainwashed and knowing that there's really nothing else you can do, I'm totally fine with it. That's pretty much all the thing I needed. I wouldn't have felt good about killing Injustice Superman. Actually, no, never mind. He lobotomized Billy Batson. Never mind. I would be fine with killing Superman in the Injustice universe as well.
Well, what about the fact that it looks like in Gotham Knights, it looks like Batman's going to be brought back as a Talon.
So that's not. It feels thematically implied, but it's never outright said, and we're about to hop to that. Don't you worry. But
I kind of just did. That was a natural segue.
there's a few things I wanted to say in this first.
Mm,
So
Bank Branco
the
is
game
being cheesy.
the game allows you to play it entirely single player, or if you want to, you can have your squad mates instead of being AI, they can be other players. I think that's nifty. I think it's neat. I think they're really good at creating worlds, and you can upgrade skills and stuff just like you did. And I saw a lot of people saying like, it sucks that you can have people join you in your game. You can turn it off. Also, I know that ever since City came out, people have been saying, I wish someone could play as Robin, or I wish someone could play as like Nightwing,
Yeah.
or someone and help me out on this mission. It sucks that it's only single player, and Arkham Origins had the multiplayer mode where it was the Bane and Joker gangs, and you
Yeah.
were Batman and Robin. It's very cool, and I think them doing that actually probably made them think, well, we could make a game like this. So that's the thing. I understand the only real criticism that I can kind of get behind is that WB and Rocksteady have both made two very similar styles of games that will inevitably sort of compete with one another, and instead of either one of them just making a single player game. That being said, we haven't seen any gameplay, and it could basically just be an Arkham game that you can swap between characters, Suicide Squad style. And my only other thing is I really want them to bring in Deathstroke, because he's been teased to be in that since Arkham Origins, and it's killing me. He better play a major role in one of these two games, and if not this, then hopefully in Gotham Knights. Now that's a segue.
All right. So it's the most ambitious mobile game.
It's not a mobile game.
I have zero faith in these companies anymore.
Okay, well, I'm really excited to play as the Red Hood in that game. It's interesting that's the same, the guy who was Mr. Negative in the Insomniac Spider-Man game is Jason Todd in this game, and he said that he's relying a lot on Jensen Ackles' portrayal from Under the Red Hood, which is always an awesome sign. It looks like they got people who are fans to basically be these characters, and I could not be more excited. He's just a really likable person. In interviews I've seen with him, he seems like a very, like, just genuinely nice person who you'd want to be neighbors with, or like go to the same supermarket and
everyone
run
talks
into
about
each
how
other.
Jensen Ackles was like the perfect Red Hood in that. I feel like we kind of pass over the fact Neil Patrick Harris was Nightwing in that.
Yeah, he doesn't really get a whole lot of...
It was a really good Nightwing.
Yeah. And he does a really good job of making fun of Bruce Wayne and Batman, of just like kind of being like a bad dad. And like, no, thank you, Nightwing, you saved me. That's fine.
Speaking of Nightwing, I realized what I don't like about the Gotham Nightwing.
His butt isn't juicy enough.
No, I looked at his outfit. It's super bulky.
Well, his outfit changes throughout it. Their outfits all start off bulkier and get sleeker and more streamlined with technology throughout the game.
See, it seems like you made up that fact
No,
just
it's
after
true.
my complaint.
No, it's like if you look at the trailer, you can see that they changed their suits throughout the game.
You
like
can
Batgirl
see how
gets a
that
cowl.
sounds,
No,
though.
yeah, no, I understand.
Like,
But
I don't know, the game seems janky. Actually, it starts off janky, and then it gets better.
I'm
as
not
it goes.
saying that the next suits will be more something that you enjoy, but there's a chance that because there will be multiple ones, you'll at least have one you can say that you like. I don't know if it's tied to a skill tree where like once you reach a certain level you unlock it. He's sleeping over here.
Okay.
Where you unlock a new suit, or if it's like story progression where the character like Tim Drake becomes Red Robin, because we see him in his Red Robin suit in the gameplay demo that I'll show you guys after this, because I'm realizing I'm probably the only one who's seen it sitting here.
Yeah. Because.
But you can literally drive around. There's civilians in Gotham for the first time. They're like, look, he went over that way, like in a chase, and they'll like sort of step out and point to like tell you to go. And you can do sick like ramp jumps. And by the way, I know that when we saw the thing, we were like, wait, did Robin just teleport? Apparently later on, he gets access to the Justice League servers, so he can short range teleport hop himself, and that's an extra traversal mechanic he can unlock later on. And he can also call down like weapons from the what's it called? It's not the Hall of Justice when it's up in space.
Justice League Tower.
Yeah, sure, that works.
The Watchtower.
Watchtower. Thank you. I knew it had a word.
I think it's Will Bullis or whatever your name was.
Woos Brillis. He is your brother, and you should know that. Gopher, I am ashamed of you. Anyway, but yeah, so it looks like there's going to be new skills you unlock from the gameplay. There's like 4 little meters that you can get, so I'm assuming you can do like super attack, super attack, and basically build up to like a 4 times super move. And in the case of Batgirl, who she has, I don't know what they're called. They're not like just basic billy clubs. They're like the sticks that have like, it's like a horizontal stick, and then there's a small one that your hand grabs on, so you can spin them around. It's like
Batons?
sort of. It's like what the a less bladed version of what the Nazi guy, Clockwork guy, had in Hellboy.
I feel
where like
I
he
knew
grabs
what
onto
those
it and you
were
can
called.
spin it.
Man, I'm upset that
Are
my
those called
mind mainly went to
Tontos?
G.I. Joe, whenever
Who hasn't G.I. Joe?
Storm Shadow like fights. He's like,
Oh
shirtless
yeah,
and
he has
has
something
one.
similar.
I feel
They
like
had to
those
come
are
up
called
with.
Tontos, but I could be wrong.
Hey, you know what? It works for me because I don't have any proof otherwise.
Yeah, they're Tontos.
Sure. Yeah. Toto, Africa, good song. So
So
that's
they're
like
El
her signature move, like her weapon. Tim Drake has a staff.
Obviously.
Nightwing obviously has his like normal sticks, and
Billy
then
clubs.
yes, and then we have
The
Red
most
Hood.
complex and really most ingenious weapon that they could have given him. I remember when I was thinking, like, what are they going to give Jason Todd to fight with?
And they're like, oh yeah, bullets.
Well, it looks like he's firing laser guns.
It could be that he's like, in honor of Bruce, I'm going to use non-lethal rounds.
No, I'm pretty sure that was lethal.
No,
Lasers
it
are
does
pretty
look like
lethal.
it does look like he's murdering people, but I don't know if it's a gameplay choice to have bright colors so you can see on the map, okay, my friend is attacking this person, or if it's to make you feel like you didn't just break someone's spine, because Batman does that a lot in the Arkham franchise, and people are like,
Yeah.
he's just unconscious.
I just remember someone isolated that perfectly. It was when in Arkham Asylum he like grapples and pulls someone into the water like from a huge cliff, and then he just never comes up for air.
Oh.
They're like, huh?
Well, in Arkham Origins, there's a point in the game where you can sit on a rooftop and you can pull the cops off of the top of the GCPD and they just fall to their death. It's the one spot where they didn't make it where you couldn't kill someone. And Batman can just like, justice! And just this is how I get rid of the corrupt police.
It's not who I am,
Also-
but what I do that defines me.
Also, I feel like back with the Jason Todd laser gun thing, I felt like that was sort of a nod with the plus the interpretation of moving more towards Beyond era Batman.
Yeah, it
Beyond
does
era
look like they've taken a
technology.
step towards the Beyond era of technology.
I need to get this out of my system. Okay? My problem with this, with both these games, it looks like, because I've been burned before, it looks like it's just going to be a bunch of loot crates and buying skins, and we're going to keep having updates throughout the years so that you can keep checking in and spending more of your Bat bucks or bring your Bat credit card.
Never leave the cave without it.
It's going to be some baby back bull crap that we're going to be having to deal with, and I'm sick and tired of this, that it's probably going to happen.
Can I just say that I understand because Destiny and The Division are games that have...
And Avengers. It's just Destiny with Marvel characters.
It's not really quite that, but I understand where you're coming from because they are a live service, meaning that they're games that launch and then they come up with new seasons and new things like that. I don't believe that Suicide Squad is going to be that because it is being talked about more like it's a game built like the Arkham games that you just happen to be able to play multiplayer if you so choose. And I could maybe see something close to that happening in Gotham Knights because it's been talked about more as an RPG than Suicide Squad, which is just you're these characters, upgrade them or don't. It's up to you. You're going to kill the Justice League.
See, now I want just like an 8-bit version where you're like traveling as a party of 4 and it's like little like 8-bit Final Fantasy style music, but with like the Gotham Knights. That's all I can think about now.
Also, I think it's worth pointing out that like both of these games, like we have limited information on it. They've announced them and they've given us like 30 minutes of information. Like the Suicide Squad one, they made a joke about it, but I don't know if it's real about when you kill a Justice League member, you might be able to then get a power from the person you killed. That could be a huge cool thing, but it could have also just been a joke because it was like as if Will Arnett was having a Skype call with the 4 members of Task Force X. So I can't tell how much was a funny bit and how much of it was like a hint at actual gameplay mechanics coming in. I will say though that both, like, there's a hint that the Nemesis system might appear in Gotham Knights, and if that's there, that's all I need to know to want to play it, because that Nemesis system is incredible.
Only instead of surviving after you cut off their head, it's more like I broke out of prison again.
Hey, Robin, you're never gonna stop me. I'm the toilet clogger. I don't know. I had to think on my feet there. That's a Frames Jenko original, but DC, you can have it for free.
Marvel, that'll be $5.
Hey, unless they put Spider-Man on Xbox and PC, yeah, it will be $5.
Which I just said, just have Moon Knight.
Shots fired.
Yeah, you want
non-lethal laser shots
if you want
fired.
me to have if you want to keep Spider-Man to yourself, you can't have the toilet clogger. You heard me, Sony. I'm holding you hostage.
Just have Moon Knight take the same moves as Spider-Man.
I do like
put
that.
him in the other because he has
Gopher Trace has said before that if you make Moon Knight a playable character, he can replicate the ability set of anyone when he believes that that's them. So
there
then,
are like 3 characters I think in particular that he thinks
Wolverine,
he
Captain
is.
America, and Spider-Man, right?
and Iron Man.
Sometimes
Oh,
he thinks he's
those
the Punisher, right? Or am I misremembering?
You're misremembering.
But yeah, I think those are the big things. Also, aside from I'm personally really excited about Suicide Squad. I'm really excited about Gotham Knights. I really hope that both of them offer at least 2-player split screen couch co-op. If not, I'm gonna hope that it comes out for Google Stadia, because then at least all I have to do is get my Xbox or PlayStation controller and plug it into a laptop, and me and Rachel can play together. And by that I mean Kelly Lollins.
Not everyone on this podcast is down for Stadia.
Look, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying that if it's cheaper than buying 2 consoles.
But you have 2 consoles.
That don't, unless it has crossplay, it doesn't matter. Unless they have crossplay, it won't matter.
This is the type of person that I had to talk to growing up about gameplay. And he's like, "Oh, it needs online."
It does. Not everything needs online, Daniel. I'm just saying that this would
You guys
work.
are really bad
I was
with the
about
fake names.
You know what? Go for Trace.
I was about to give an example of like, oh, so you think Untitled Goose Game should have a multiplayer? But that sounds amazing.
It is multiplayer now, actually. They just announced a new multiplayer mode. I'm not joking. I saw it because it was a sign, and it
I
was
assume it's called flock mode.
or Gaggle.
Ooh, gag.
Which, by the way, I was in my explanation of who the Court of Owls are for our website, the Poppycock podcast.video.blog. First of all, it's called "Who Are the Court of Owls?" And at one point, I point out that it's called a Court of Owls because that's the term for a large gathering of owls. The same way it's a herd of sheep, a pack of wolves, or a murder of crows. And then I also
it's a parliament.
Well, that's the thing. At one point, the Court of Owls splits up, and one of the more proper versions that's a little bit more well maintained is called the Parliament. Because bird pun.
How I heard it explained was that the Court of Owls is there's a whole different court of owls, courts, and they all report to the Parliament, which is the elite
Supreme Justice
cabal that runs everything.
I almost made a political joke, but if you want politics, listen to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Just like Barney the dinosaur brainwashing our children.
But yeah, so I think other than that, we have Wonder Woman looks great. The Snyder Cut trailer was actually kind of lackluster, but I think they just didn't have time to finish the effects yet because it's a 4-hour movie or multiple series, 4 episodes.
Can we address Wonder Woman?
Did you say address or undress? Because I think she's married.
Address.
Again, I didn't hear that any better, but yes.
All right.
If Gal Gadot suddenly materializes, you can have her way.
Gross. It's a married woman.
I don't know if she's... Well, Wonder Woman isn't married. She's a fictional character.
If Wonder Woman shows up, then I'm going to be like, you're made of clay. That's crazy.
Well, I don't know if that's always true. I think sometimes...
That's true in the Gal Gadot version.
I can't remember if she was clay or if that was just one time Ares and... I almost said Hermaphrodite.
She literally explains that.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, Gopher.
Shut up. Frickin'
Frames Janko.
Janky frames.
Do we need to go over our quote-unquote names
This
again?
is Woos Brillis. You're Gopher Trace. I'm Frames Janko. That's Kelly Lollins. This is a dog.
Frames Gopher Woos. That's all you need to know.
Also, don't get him confused with
Bear
Woos Brain.
Ud. Okay.
I keep thinking you're saying Paul Rudd.
Bear Ud. It's
Paul
Air
Rudd.
Bud.
So he's Paul Rudd.
No. Ant-Man.
But
That's
yeah.
exactly what
So what did
Ant-Man
you want to
sounds like.
undress about Gal Gadot?
The new trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
it looks awesome.
That's the only DC thing that they've announced that I'm actually stoked for.
Not... what was it called? The Shazam 2 is called Shazam Power of the Gods.
I know nothing of it. You're literally it's the first thing I've heard about it.
Well, I missed it because the DC Fandome app crashed right as the panel was about to start, and I swore profusely at my phone and laptop when that happened.
Yeah. Uba kakaka, and it started levitating and being cursed with 1,000 years of bad luck.
Yes. But yeah. Again, the bad guy isn't going to be Black Adam yet. That's going to be at the end of the trilogy where Black Adam becomes that. Black Adam is basically playing Dwayne Johnson, where he's like, "I'm a hero, but I play by my own rules." And he
You
teams
realize
up
you
with
just
the
said
Justice
Black
Society.
Adam is playing Dwayne Johnson, right?
Well, yeah, that's how it is. Did you not know that he's an immortal?
He goes, just blam, and then he becomes Dwayne Johnson. Well, actually, Dwayne Johnson does that and he becomes The Rock.
Good point.
Uh,
Yeah.
But if he goes kablamo, then he
I'm-
becomes Black Adam.
my only real concern with the new Wonder Woman movie is how they're going to make a cheetah not look
Like cats?
Yeah, terrifying.
I think having good CG effect artists will probably help.
Just
to
go
an extent,
just
just-
go full Khajiit in the face. with like Elder Scrolls Khajiit.
You mean like Beast from X-Men First Class?
No.
That's a good example of how to
I
do
think
that.
it is a good example. Or you go
It's not
Wolfman.
Khajiit, what he's talking about, but it's
That's
a good example.
That's
of
because
what to
Beast
do.
is neither feline nor canine. He's mutant and proud.
I was going to say Alpine.
Ooh, here's another hot take. The only person that I would rather see play Shazam than Zachary Levi is Chris Pratt.
Here's my hot take.
I feel like instead of hot take, you should just say your opinion, because that's all this is.
No, they're hot. They're spicy.
Sam, this is how we get.
His name is Woos.
You guys are bad at this.
This is how we get people to not interrupt us. Is what I was about to say.
Well, that wasn't a hot take, so I can't interrupt that.
Hot take, Joel. You suck.
It's frames.
Listen here, Joel Olstein. I don't have to put up with that.
I am not Tim the Toolman Taylor with worse teeth. That's just what Joel Osteen is. I made a joke that he looked like Tim the Toolman Taylor and a rat had a kid. No one laughed. 2 weeks later, they accidentally used Tim the Toolman Taylor in a news story about Joel Osteen. People were like, "Oh, he looks just like Tim Allen." People
can't-
don't know comedy.
You can't do doing the hand talking thing this entire.
Yeah, but
like-
because they can't see it, I don't have to acknowledge it.
So anywho,
What was that gopher?
Speaking of Nightwing, I've had a pitch for a Nightwing show that I've been like sort of keeping on the back burner whenever I get bored.
Well, we're actually at max capacity after this episode, so we can do it in our next episode that in real life we're going to record right now, but for you guys will happen whenever you choose. And in case you can't tell, there are veins coming out of Gopher's face.
My name is Daniel. You can go bite me.
Also, Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is just going to be called Suicide Squad from now
And
on.
it's gonna have the greatest mobile experience.
Stop saying that!